Hello, fans, and welcome to another episode of High and Tight. I'm John Nolan, the PBR Virginia DC Content Manager and Northern Virginia Scouting Director. I'm joined today by the PBR Virginia DC Scouting Director, Jason Burton. Jason, how we doing?
Doing good, doing good.
How many miles you put on the car in the last month?
A couple. Not as much as the high school
some,
season, but a couple.
yeah, some might say. Today, we're going to break down the updated class of 2026 rankings, which ran in the middle of September. Before we get into specifics, Jason, any general notes that you want to share with everybody on these rankings?
No, I mean, obviously they'll continue to expand as we continue to get a better feel for the class as a whole. We try not to go too drastic and too deep, too quickly. So it's kind of a slow build on the class, and we've started to list some guys to follow, and in addition to ranking players out, and just kind of watch those guys grow.
Absolutely. And I will expand on your point when we are about to talk about risers here. At this ranking was more as about expanding the rankings. There are a couple of big risers, but it's not as much movement vertically as we would see with our upper class rankings, just because we're still getting to know these kids. The 2026s just finished their freshman year. They're in their sophomore falls right now. So again, this is a little more about expanding right now than who makes jumps. But that being said, there were a couple guys who made some big jumps. Bert, you want to go with one who made a jump for you first?
Sure. Mandela Broman. Mandela is a recent transfer into Miller School. He was at Albemarle last year, started as a freshman, was one of their better players. And, it's easy to see why. We had him a 6.84 late last spring, early last summer, 90 from the outfield, long, lean. He's listed at 5'10", probably a little bit bigger than that if I had to guess now. Um, but just really athletic kid who can stick in center. I think that he's going to have a chance. With the way the body looks and the way he's proportioned and his length and things like that. I think he's a player who has a chance to get even faster. I mean, I could definitely see him being a 6'6", 6'7" runner. He uses the whole field at the plate. He's got a little bit of sneaky pop in there, but the offense, continues to grow. Um, but really good defender in center, advanced arm, athletic, can do a little bit of everything at the plate. I think that's one that has a high ceiling and continues to make strides.
Good choice. I'm going to go to Northern Virginia here and go catcher Jack Woda. Jack is the latest decent catcher up there in those WCAC private schools in DC and Northern Virginia. Jack got that athletic, strong frame, 5'10", 182. We've seen him a couple of different times. At the state games, he actually ran 7'1", pretty good for a catcher. Probably going to end up being a high six runner. So speed is a thing for him. Like the build on the frame, shows power in the gaps. His live exit was 95 during the state games. Didn't throw at the state games because he had a big tournament coming up that weekend, but he has been catcher velo up to 77, shows arm strength and accuracy behind the plate. So he's got a chance to stick back there. But worst case scenario, that speed, that arm strength will help him potentially be able to transition to a corner spot if he needs to, even in the outfield. So a lot to like there, versatility. But like I said, I think he can actually stick behind the plate. And I really like the way the bat and the speed combination would play there, which is a good combination to have and not something you usually see in a catcher. Again, that's Jack Woda, 2026 catcher from Bishop O'Connell. Let's go ahead and move to a couple of new faces here. Bert, why don't you lead the way?
A new face that I wanted to highlight coming into the rankings is 2026 outfielder, right-handed pitcher Nate Reed. Nate is also at a different school now. He is going to be at James River Midlow this spring, or he's there now. Really great addition for the Rapids. 6'4", 190 pounds. We got a chance to see Nate at the state games this summer, and we've seen him a ton over the course of the summer and into the fall with his Cardinals 26 team. Uh, on the mound, he's low mid 80s. He'll run it up to like an 86 or so. But I just think it's an offense first profile right now. Corner outfielder, potentially first base long term, but he is athletic enough to play outfield. Advanced arm strength. I think he's 89 from the outfield. Big physical kid, and most importantly, the swing plays. It's a player whose offense is going to give him an opportunity to stick in the corners in the outfield. Um, I think he's going to have the ability to hit for average, hit for some power. Again, the swing plays, it's simple. It's got a little bit of path, it's got a little bit of uphill path to it. It stays in the zone. I really like the way the swing works. I like the simplicity of it to go along with his advanced physicality. He's an average runner, so I think that's why he has to stay in the corners. But the offense will definitely allow him to play there.
All right, good deal. I'm going to go two-way guy here. I'm going to go Dylan Amos from Riverside High School, shortstop, right-handed pitcher. Dylan, during the high school season, was able to contribute a little bit for Riverside, did a little pitching, a little hitting for them as well. Really have seen him take off here as the summers progressed and into the fall. Had a real good showing a couple weeks ago at the DC Fall Championship. Got a chance to sit on him. He's got an athletic 5'11 frame. It's proportional. There is some functional good strength on there. He's not muscle bound, but he does have some room to continue to add strength to it. I really am not sure where he's going to stick when it's all said and done because I think the two ways legitimately in play. Fastball a couple weeks ago was 82, 83, touched up to 85. It's a short arm action. He hides the ball well, a little crossfire in his delivery. He's got some high spin on that fastball as well. Chance to continue developing velocity at the plate. I like the way the swing works. He's very, very short, shows some barrel feel. There's some whip and extension through it. He's got the athleticism to definitely be able to stick up the middle. So it's an interesting two-way package, and it'll be a fun one to watch as he continues to develop here as to what takes the lead here, middle infield or on the mound, or if he probably keep doing both at the high school level. It'll just depend what ends up lining up best for him at the next level after that. Again, that's Dylan Amos, a two-way right-handed pitcher shortstop from Riverside High School. And the last place we're going to go here with our 2026 rankings. While we said this was an expansion, there's still more room for us to expand. So, Bert, there were a couple guys who just didn't quite make the cut, or guys that we think we should keep an eye on could make a big jump next time that we do this rankings. So, one guy to watch for in our next update for you is who?
I think that one important thing to talk about when it comes to your younger classes are there aren't many uh, perennial powers or perennial contenders who play freshmen. Um, so either you're going to have to go down and kind of go out of the way a little bit, maybe, and off the beaten path to find some of those freshmen, or those really good freshmen sometimes on those contenders and powerful programs are going to be playing JV or sitting the bench on varsity. So it's a little bit harder. So when we do like a summer update, an early summer or late spring update, we haven't seen some of these guys, and then if we don't see them in the summer, then it's tough to see them then as well, or it's tough to evaluate then as well. But the one I wanted to talk about, I got a chance to see one game this spring at Mountain View, and didn't get a chance to see him this summer, but did get a chance to see him first tournament this fall. Had a phenomenal tournament. Probably like if we had to hand out an MVP award for that tournament for offensive guys, it would probably be him. And that is 26 Weston Yount out of Mountain View. Left-handed hitter, kind of compact frame. He's listed as utility, first base, outfield. I think corner, outfield, first base. He's average runner, I would say. But just more importantly than anything, like he just gets the barrel on the baseball. He just hits and hits and hits and hits and hits. I don't know if he got out pretty much that entire weekend. Doubles in the gap, backside, pull side, line drives. Pretty simple. Gets it up, gets it down. Swing's got some whip through the finish. It's a little bit of uphill path. I really like the way the swing works, and I like, more importantly, I like his ability to repeat and to consistently get the bat on the baseball and get the barrel on the baseball. I just thought it was a really solid hit tool. He showed some adjustability using the middle of the field. Maybe he got out front a little bit on some spin or soft, and uh, and he still showed the ability to hit. So just a really impressive weekend for Yount, and a guy who's got a chance to make a nice climb on the next update in November.
All right. And my guy who I think has got a chance to make a nice climb is someone whose older brother we've talked about. I'm going to go to Heritage High School in Leesburg, 2026 two-way outfielder, right-handed pitcher Mark Van Toyle. We talked about his brother Aaron, who's a 2025, a couple different times on here. I like Mark a lot too. I like what we've seen about him. A lot like Amos, and think that two-way might actually be a thing. Although I think with Mark right now, I would put the outfield and the bat a little bit ahead of where he is on the mound. On the mound a couple weeks ago, it was 81, 82. He throws from a very low slot. I'd almost call it sidearm. Drops down, hides the ball a little bit from there. He had a pretty good season on the mound for Heritage as a freshman, threw a lot of innings for them, helping them out in one of the better seasons that they've had in program history this year. They're in a good place next year, actually, whenever we get around to the high school season. But I also like him at the plate. I like the way the swing works. It's short. He gets the barrel to the baseball and is able to drive it through contact. He's an all fields guy right now, but he shows a little bit of pull power. There's definitely some gap power as well. He's got projection left in the frame, so I definitely think there's room for him to add some strength. And so it tends chance to keep growing on that power. I think it's got a corner outfield profile when it's all said and done. So definitely could be an interesting guy. Going to be a fun one to watch again next spring when we get out and see him. Hopefully, get to see him do more than just pitch coming this spring during the high school season. And again, that is Mark Van Toyle from Heritage High School, outfielder, right-handed pitcher. Any other notes on the 26 rankings, Bert? Or are we good on those?
Nope. Updates will come for all classes on the middle to back end of November and into December.
All right, that's going to do it for us. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next podcast as we'll start breaking down some of our fall tournaments and highlighting players that stood out for us. We'll see you out there.